Okay, everybody, we're recording. So hello and welcome to our Tuesday night family Zoom. And this Zoom is every single Tuesday at the same place on the same Zoom number. So make sure that you spread the word throughout your team as you're building and enrolling new people. This is a great way. We have so much going on in our company, right? We almost have calls and opportunity calls almost every single night. And you know, it's the larger company training. So it's nice to kind of connect with our smaller community on a weekly basis, and we get to see each other's faces and get some hands-on training. So tonight we're going to do about 20 minutes of training, and then Jen is going to do some action steps at the end, some hands-on stuff. So before we begin, I just want to bring Wendy Johnson on because we were talking the other day, and Wendy just has something that she wants to share with you guys. So Wendy?
Okay, so when I was talking with Rachel, we were talking about cycles and like how you get paid in your commissions tab and everything. And when she had talked to me about this at first, I was like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Why do cycles matter? And now that she explained it to me, it really does help me drive my business differently. So whenever I'm looking at my left leg, my right leg, and the volume, I know now, oh my gosh, I have to make sure that I get either one more customer or two more or something to build one leg higher to get my 600, 400 or duplicates of 600, 400 so that I can get paid out cycles, because cycles really are awesome. So like last month, I was doing it the first time in January, just looking at the cycles. And it really is a great motivator because I was waking up going, okay, it's Friday morning. I don't have enough for 2 cycles. What can I do? So I was calling my distributors, trying to get them to post, doing different things like, you need a customer, or I need a customer, or somebody needs a customer, or we need to get another distributor. So it was really it is motivating. And now I'm teaching with Rachel how to get my team to understand cycles and how to push for making sure that they hit those cycles. So cycles really are where it's at. It's really fun to do the numbers.
And it really is a different mindset, isn't it, Wendy?
Yeah.
And totally. I love that you shared that. Thank you so much. Because, you know, otherwise, all we're doing is we're focusing on, we got to enroll people, right? We need customers, distributors, and of course we do. Because, you know, we don't have anything unless we enroll people. But we also have to kind of change our focus, which is what that action plan is. So make sure that you guys have that printed out. You always have that in front of you. You write down everything that you do. Because it's kind of like this. If you think about a diet, right? Like let's say you have a trainer and you want to lose 20 pounds, right? And he says, okay, well, you're in here 4 days a week. You're working out with me for an hour to an hour and a half. We've got all this down. You're still not losing weight. Okay, so what are you eating? And then, you know, you say, well, I'm eating this and I think I eat this. And he goes, listen, you've got to keep a food journal. Because we've got to track what you're doing, because this is what you want and this is where you are, and we've got to figure out if what you're doing is going to match those expectations, right? So it's the same thing with this business. And so the action form is designed so not only are you, you know, trying to get customers, you're trying to get distributors. Box number 3 is all about cycles. And prior to us really talking about the cycles, we all know that if you get 400 on one side and 600 on the other side, it generates a cycle. But we didn't start talking about really being intentional about that until just recently. And if you are super intentional, like Wendy, with looking at your cycles every single morning, looking to see where you're at in your cycles, how much more you need to push to that next cycle. And if you do that every single day, like if Wendy's $200 BV short from her next cycle, she knows that she needs to either go get somebody on with a 4-pack, or she needs to get 3 customers or 2 associates to get those numbers over that hump to push to the next cycle. You guys, there's magic when you hit 5 cycles. And then when you consistently start hitting 5 cycles, magic. Not only are you going to make $200 if you hit 5 cycles a week just in cycle pay. Here, I'm going to mute somebody out here. Not only are you going to get $200, but it's going to push your qualifying volume up through the roof, right? Which hopefully will then eventually promote you to coach, and eventually your cycles will be worth 60 instead of 40. So the 5 cycles where you were making 200 a week, you're now making 300 a week. Plus, you're still making tabs from enrolling distributors. You're still making $25 every time your customers' auto ships run. Okay. And then your cycles are going to be, that's going to drive really your whole organization. But you want to be intentional on checking that and pushing every day. Every day, just try and get one more cycle, and teach your team to do the same thing. And next thing you know, you're going to be sitting at 20 cycles a week, 30 cycles a week, 50 cycles a week. Can you imagine how cool that will be? Yeah. All right. So our next speaker is my beautiful, spunky friend, Jennifer Jobson. Thank you so much, Wendy. And Jen, you're going to just really love tonight because Jennifer is such an awesome trainer. She has been in this profession of network marketing for almost 20 years. She has so much experience. She is an incredible leader, an incredible friend, and she really knows her stuff, especially on social media. So Jen, I'm going to hand it over to you. Take it away.
All right. Thank you. What a great introduction. I appreciate that. So welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. We're going to be talking about social media and how to really work the algorithms to benefit you. But first, I wanted to share a little bit about mindset. To me, mindset is a big deal because it can be a deal breaker between whether you're successful or not with the same amount of actions. And mindset really determines how you propel your business. So I want to share a little bit of a book that my friend Rachel got me, and it's called The Magic of Thinking Big. And I typically have 2 to 3 books going at one time. I have one in my bedroom, I have one downstairs, and I might read a page, I might read a paragraph, I might read a chapter. But I always try to pour into myself because I know that my mindset is up to me. And Rachel and I were literally talking about this the other day, about how important it is to not wait to be inspired, not wait to feel motivated to do some of the actions that I'm going to teach you tonight, but to train yourself as a business professional and understand that you are in charge of your destiny and nobody else. So I thought this was just really appropriate. If you have the book, it is on page 224. So I'm going to read a little bit about it, and then I'm going to kind of apply it to what I'm going to teach you tonight about how to successfully use Facebook to build your business and how to really work the algorithms within Facebook. So be ready with pen and paper for that portion. So here we go. It's talking about action. So it says action must precede an action. And sometimes we think, well, that's stupid if you think of it that way, but really let that marinate. A lot of times when we take action, we know that that gives us the momentum for the next step and the next step and the next step. And again, you'll be able to apply that to what I'm teaching you tonight with Facebook. So it says action must precede action. That's a law of nature. Nothing starts itself, not even the dozens of mechanical gadgets we use daily. Your home, for example, is heated automatically, but you must take action, the temperature that you want. Your car shifts gears automatically only after you have set the right lever. The same principle applies to mind action. You get your mind in gear to make it produce for you. And then it proceeded to tell a little bit of a story about a young branch sales manager for a door-to-door sales organization, explained how he trained his sales force, what he calls the mechanical way, to start each day early and more successfully. He says there's a tremendous resistance to the door-to-door salesman, as anyone who has ever sold house-to-house knows. He commented, and it's hard, even for the veteran salesman, to make that very first call. Just like it's hard sometimes to get that very first text message or that very first Facebook message. And we know that once you get the next one's a little bit easier and so forth. So he says, just that first call can be the hardest in the morning. He knows that the odds are pretty good that he'll get some pretty rough treatment before the day is over. So it's natural for him to put off getting started in the morning. And how many times have we done that? We think, oh no, they're going to judge us. Oh no, they're going to say no. And then we end up talking ourselves out of getting out those very valuable messages that build our business. I know that I do it. I have to get my mojo going because I could literally talk myself out of not doing like something like the messages, right? So hopefully you can relate to that because I think it's pretty universal. So he says, I'll drink a cup of extra coffees, maybe cruise around the neighborhood a while, or do a dozen little things to postpone that very first call. I train each new man this way. I explain to him that the only way to start is to start. Don't deliberate. Don't postpone getting started. Do this. Just park your car, get your sample case, walk to the door, ring the bell, smile, say good morning, and make your presentation, all mechanically, without a lot of conscious thought. Start making calls this way, and you break the ice. By the second or third call, your mind is sharp, and your presentations become effective. The humorist once said, the most difficult problem in life is getting out of a warm bed into a cold room. And he had a point. The longer you lie there and think how unpleasant it will be to get up, the more difficult it becomes. Even in such a simple operation as this, mechanical action, just throwing off the covers and putting your feet on the floor, defeats dread. The point is clear. People who get things done in this world don't wait for the spirit to move them. They move the spirit themselves. They don't wait until they feel like doing it. They do it themselves. So he says, try these 2 exercises. Use the mechanical way to accomplish simple, but sometimes unpleasant business and household chores. Rather than think about the unpleasant features of the task, jump right in and get going without a lot of deliberation. Perhaps the most unpleasant household task to most is washing dishes. And for us, again, we could apply this. Maybe you feel a little funky sending messages out or following up, or did you take a look at that getonthegel.com video? But if you just think of doing it mechanically instead of waiting for the feels to come over you, or, if my vibe isn't right, maybe I shouldn't send them out, or, I'm not feeling too good today. Really step back, take away all the emotion, and just do it mechanically. And those 1 or 2 calls will be mechanical, and then before you know it, you're going to be inspired by the activity, by the action yourself. And I don't know, raise your hand. Have you ever thought, I'm just not in the mood to send out messages? Right? There you go, right? And then you start doing them, and then it begins to get a little bit easier. And then after a while, it's just pop, 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 pop. So I love this little bit of a lesson is just really thinking about doing some of these activities that I'm going to show you tonight, but also those messages. Just don't wait for you to have the good feeling to do it. Just do it mechanically. And I know, Rachel, you shared one time, who's the gal that you were like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast? Who is that?
Mel Robbins.
There, Mel Robbins. And the point is like, just do it. But I just like that whole thought of doing it mechanically, because sometimes that's how it feels, and it gets the job done, and then it gets your juices flowing, okay? So that was your little mindset training. So I would like to challenge you for that this week is when you feel like you don't want to do it, just do it mechanically. Don't feel like you have to feel good about sending those messages out. Just copy, paste, send, and do it like a little robot, and then after a while you'll get your juices rolling, okay? So deal? That's what you're going to think about this week. Just send out those messages. Okay, so now here's your pen and paper stuff. So I'm going to go over a little bit about the algorithms of Facebook, because let's face it, Facebook plays games with us. Facebook likes to change the games and change the rules. And so our desire is to be able to get our posts seen, whether they are on our product page or on our regular news feed. And there's tricks and ways to get more viewership, if you would, on your posts, but most importantly, more engagement on your posts and with those that are on your list. So I'm going to just talk about a little bit about engagement. So here we go. So the goal is obviously to get seen. So you want to be social. You want to act like you are going to a party every time you go into your Facebook. What you want to do is be able to create relationships with people. And how do you do that? Number 1, engagement. You need to connect with people. So what you need to do before you ever get in there and put posts on your news feed is you need to engage and at least 5 minutes prior to making any posts. It might not necessarily be 5 minutes, but you need to get in there, like people's posts, comment on people's posts, and really try your best to think that you're at a party and what would you do to engage with people and create relationships with them. So you need to, what we call, earn the right to post through engagement. So again, before you post, you want to take about 5 minutes and engage with people that you're friends with. And I'm going to show you a little bit about the lists because I've got my telephone over here, and in a few minutes I'm going to hop on and show you some tips and some tricks to do that, okay? So the more you engage with others, the more your posts will be seen. Have you ever done a post and you think, why isn't anybody commenting, or why isn't anybody liking? I'd like to challenge you this week to get out there and go in and like and comment on people's posts before you do any post and see what happens. See how many more comments and likes that you get on your posts on your news feed. Okay, so you know we've talked about building lists. So we have our NUL, our New You Life support list. And I'm going to kind of cover that in just a second here. But there are other types of lists that you should be making. And I'm going to give you a list. So if you're a note taker, here you go. Some Facebook lists that you should be creating. Now we know that you have to create lists on your desktop. I did a video on that in Discover Your Potential, so you'll be able to see that there. But here's some lists that I suggest, and feel free to put in the comments if you have other list ideas, please add those as well. One of them would be gel customers. I mean, obviously, right? Bless you, Andy. So I would suggest gel customers on auto ship, possibly as your business builds, gel customers that are not on auto ship currently, prospects, of course, and everybody that you meet should go on the prospect list. Gel team family, this is our NUL support list that we've made. Gel top inspo. So I like to create an inspiration list, like people that I'm friends with. Now remember, for them to be added to a Facebook list, you have to be friends. So I know a lot of top leaders we follow, so you can't add them to a list. You have to be friends with whoever you add to the list. So Gel top inspo, and then your Gel personally enrolled associates. And again, it's really nice to be this organized, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be popping into each one of these lists at least 1 to 2 times per day and interact with the people that are on those lists. Because when you do it that way, you know, let's face it, most of us probably have anywhere from 1,500 to 5,000, which is the cap of friends that you can have, 1,500 to 5,000 friends. We all know you're not seeing all of those people on your news feed. So guess what? They're not seeing you on their news feed either. So by interacting with them, this is how you get into other people's news feeds, so that when you create that post, they're going to see it, okay? So what you're going to do is create those lists first, and this is going to help you to engage. So we're going to do our very first action step for tonight, all right? I have 5 things for us to do, and instead of waiting to do them all at the end, I've decided I'm going to just kind of plunk them into different areas to our training tonight, okay? So what I would like you to do is go ahead onto your desktop, and I want you to create a prospect list and maybe create a gel customer list. Now, if you need help with this, please put this in the comments, and I can actually kind of walk you through it. If you need help with that, I can do a screen share. In fact, why don't I just do that? Let me get this set up. Give me a second. Okay, let's see. Let me enlarge this. Okay, there we go. Share. Boom, boom. Okay, so here's your first task, and I'm going to walk you through it, and then we're going to put on the timer for 3 minutes, all right? So what you're going to do, okay, give me a thumbs up. Can everybody see my Facebook feed? Okay, very good. So you'll see, if you come over here to the left-hand margin, you're going to see under Explore, friends lists. Okay, so if you're a note taker, write that down. And if you're not and you're following through, go ahead and get that started for yourself. All right, so you're going to come over here, create a list. And I still keep all my lists from my other businesses. I keep all, like I have my customer from my Pilates studio, because to me that's still valuable information. Like that's like marketing companies would love to sell you lists like this. All right, so here's where you can create a list, and let's just pretend. Let's just go gel friends. We'll just do that. All right, and now I can go right here and I can add Rachel. I can add Rochelle. So you just start typing. I can add Lisa, Bridges, and so forth and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and click right here, create, and boom. This is my gel friends list. I can come over here and manage it. And when you click on that, you can see that you can rename it, you can edit the list, or you could delete the list. And then you can also, from this area here, begin to add more names. Like I can add Wendy from here, all right? So now when I see this news feed, the only people that I've added to this list will be in my news feed. So of course this is, you know, a test one, so it's really tiny and small. So here's where my opportunity is to go and engage. So imagine if, let me go back to my list and I'll show you. I'm gonna go over and go to our support group, okay? So here's where you can go through and like and make a comment. Wow, what a difference. I can't type. I've got two keyboards in front of me, one for my computer and one for my telephone. Okay, so you get that, right? Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and set the timer. And what I want you to do is in 3 minutes, I want you to go ahead and create the title of the list. Remember the lists I just gave you. I'll go back to my screen share. So this little area right here, okay? So go ahead and create, and if you already have these lists, I want you to go and add more people. So probably the first thing that you would add would be prospects, right? And then we're gonna come back. All right, so here we go. Let me get my clock going. And actually on this one, I'm just gonna give you 2 minutes on this one. All right, here we go. Go ahead. So again, what you're doing here is you're creating those lists. I guess I should keep that up for you guys. I'll do it on my telephone. Create some of these lists and then go through and start adding people. So under prospects, for example, you know, add as many people as you can that you're friends with. Maybe somebody that you've just met at the gym that you've just added. As you're going and doing this, I'm going to kind of coach you through some other tips. Whenever I meet people, I automatically add them to my prospect list. Whenever I meet them and add them to Facebook, that's one of the very first things that I do is add them to my prospect list. And of course, then when they become a customer or an associate, then I move them over, and I'll show you how to do that over to the other list, okay? All right, you've got about 1 more minute because we're just gonna do 2 minutes on this. So you're either creating some Facebook lists or you're adding people to Facebook or to one of your lists. Almost there. I love these working trainings. I think that when Rachel and Rochelle did these last week, it was phenomenal. Because sometimes we just don't take the time to sit down and do it. Almost there.
Can you explain one more time what is the difference between a friends list and a group?
I will. Yes.
You just are not clear on that.
Absolutely. When I do my screen share on my phone, I'm going to kind of go over that.
Okay.
Almost there. Keep on adding or creating those lists. Because again, the goal is really to be organized and really think of Facebook as part of your business plan. Okay. And there we go. All right, guys. So we're done with that little section. Okay, let me go back and unscreen share here. There. And let me bring this back. Okay, so how many of you guys added a new list? Raise your hand. Good, all right. How many people added at least 5 people to any list? All right, there we go. Let's see, I don't think you can do it from your phone. I'm sorry, let's see, let me spot some questions here. Can we create lists from our phone? Right, we used to. I don't know why we digressed on Facebook, but we have. But you used to be able to. But what I'm going to do now, because that's I think a great segue into scooting over to my telephone. So give me a second here to pull up my Zoom. Share screen. All right. Isn't this weird? So now you're seeing my telephone. Pretty cool, isn't it? Let me see. Can you hear me? Thumbs up? Yeah. Okay, you can still hear me. Okay, so I wanted to show you a couple of things on on Facebook. Let's see. There we go. All right. So what you're going to do is click onto your page, your feed. All right. And then you're going to scroll and you're going to go to friends. Oh, I'll just throw in this little interesting factoid. You see the 6 people here? We have Anne-Marie, Dana, Debbie, Wendy, Amanda, and Richard. Whenever you see these 6 squares, these are the people who have been on your news feed. And so that lets you know a little bit about who has been checking you out or who has been spending time on your page. All right, so what you're going to do is next click on friends. You can see my little pointer here. So you're just going to click right here on friends. And I want to show you a couple of little fun things. Right here, as you can see, are all. If I click on recent, I can see my newest friends right here. Notice a couple of things. You see right here under Bob, he has 9 new posts. What that tells me is that Bob is active on Facebook versus Helen down here, who doesn't have any new posts since I've checked in last. Or underneath her, Mandy, who has 1 new post. So this lets me know that Bob is active on Facebook, so I'm going to go and engage with him. First of all, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on, let's see, let me move this out of the way. No, I won't do it that way. I'm going to click on Bob. Okay, so now we've got Bob here. Get that down. So right over here under friends, you're going to click on this. Now remember, I'm on my telephone, but you can also do this on the desktop. But this is how, when I meet somebody at the gym and I become friends with them on Facebook, I immediately go into this little section right here, and I'm going to add them to a prospect list. All right, so edit friend list. You guys see that right there? I'm going to click on that. And then all my lists pop up, and I'm going to add him to my prospect. Now you'll see that there was an arrow or a check mark that came up, And then prospect typically then would be bolded. Any list that I add them to would be bolded, but it hasn't refreshed yet. So then I'm going to go back. And so now Bob is added to my prospect list. And I'm going to have Rachel check if you guys have any questions, because I'm double screening. I can't see any comments. And while I'm in this little section, this is the best time to ask questions. So again, the scenario here is Bob is my friend already. I've just added him to a pre-created list. So a list, again, is when you are friends with people and you're adding them, it's very explicit, to a list versus a group. A group is something that you create, like One Product Amazing Results, like Discover. These are groups. And groups are something that you manage and add content to. These lists are something different. You're just taking your friends and you're basically categorizing them or filing them. Does that make sense? Maybe give me some thumbs up. Yeah? Okay. All right, good. So I could go through, let me go back to Bob. So Bob has done a lot. Oh, this is telling me Bob is already gelling. Do you see that? This is on Bob's profile, and I see this picture here, and I see this little baby here. That lets me know he really is not a prospect, so I need to go and take him off my prospect list. And I usually actually go and do that beforehand. So he is just going to be a friend. But say he was like somebody that wasn't gelling, I would go through, and this is where I would go and like and comment and engage. So let's check out Nicole. Let me scroll down. Okay, I see that there's a lot of people on our team here, so that lets me know she is probably on our team. So I'm going to go ahead and just add her to the new null support group, that list that we made. Okay. All right, so this is how from your telephone you're going to add people to the list, because remember, on our telephones we cannot create the list, but we can add people to the list. All right. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you here now, again, remember I'm on my own page. I clicked. So this lets me know all the people who are very active. So here's a good friend of mine, Susan Perfader. So she's had 4 new posts since the last time that I checked. I'd say she's active on Facebook. I say that she is willing to engage with me if she's on Facebook and making posts. And like here's Nicole, she did 1 new post since I checked last. Amanda, she's done 10 new posts. So let's go on to, let's see, we'll do Jen Ross. Okay, so here she is. I'm going to go ahead and just put some engagement. Let's see. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Ha ha. Okay. By that simple fact of engaging with her on her post, now when I go and make posts, Jen Ross is going to see more of my posts. Okay. So I am going to stop screen share here. All right. And then I'm going to come back to here. All right. I see Elizabeth's thing. Okay, so what we want to do next for our next action step is now I want you to go and engage with 5 people or more on your prospect list. Okay, so you're just going to go through, like, make some comments, and here's a couple of tips. If you comment with at least 5 words or more and add emojis, because that's going to connect the 2 of you through Facebook algorithms more than just hitting the thumbs up or hitting the heart or hitting the laugh or hitting the crying face, all right? So I'm going to set our timer up and we're going to do our next action step. And this one will be for 3 minutes. All right. So go ahead and go into Facebook on whatever device you're going to go on and pull up a list. Click on your prospect list. And here we go. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of coach you as you go, so just keep looking for people that you can like and comment. Try to ask a question as well, because the more that you engage with the people, the more that Facebook is going to recognize that you guys are friends and not look as spammy. So if they come back with the answer, I consider it touches. So every time you begin to touch each other and make those connections, the more rich your news feed is going to be with their content, and the more rich their news feed is going to be with your content. So if you can go and think of it like a tennis match and continue to hit the ball back and forth with people. And I noticed that several of you have been doing that and having a really good time with some of my posts and me doing that with your posts with our support team, our support list. So see if you can create comments as you're doing this exercise with questions. Like ask a question. Like say, for example, you've come across somebody that posted a recipe. You could say, oh my gosh, that looks so good. Did you make that already? And then when they respond, no, I just, thought I'd share the recipe. Then you can continue on and go, oh my gosh, that's so good. Can you let me know when you make it? And did you get this off Pinterest? Just anything like that. Again, because the engagement and the connections on the posts that you make are what Facebook is looking for in order for your news feed to stay really healthy. All right, continuing to go. Engage with 5 or more people on your prospect list. Try to ask questions. Use some emojis. And I love hearing that ding when you make a comment, because somebody's active at the moment. Make sure you're working your prospect list. That's really important. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. We're almost there. We have 30 seconds left. See how many comments you can turn into questions. Again, the more engagement that you have, the more these people will see your posts. All right, and time is up. Fantastic. All right, cancel. Did anybody, let me go through, anybody have any questions? All right, Rochelle added 5 people. Fantastic. Good. Did anybody do any type of engagement? Raise your hand. Did you get some comments going? Good, good. All right. So this is what you want to do. Again, it's all about that engagement to change the algorithms. Okay, so I'm going to go back to what's the difference between a list and a group. Again, a list is literally like if you were to handwrite names down like on a prospect list. That's what a list is. A group is an organization, if you would, that you created and you add people to that, and that's then you post into that. Again, think our pages like Discover and our One Product Amazing Results. Those are groups, and that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about these lists. So again, why these lists, and why would you segregate and make all these distinct lists? Because it helps you to stay in engagement with each individual people, each individual group. And I'm going to give you an example of why it's important to toggle and go through your lists. So we have our New You Life support list. And we know that we've made that promise, right, to go through and like and comment on people that are on that list at least 1 to 2 times a day, because our goal is for everyone to get around 50 comments on every post, and that's going to boost that post. Every time a comment is made on a post, even if you did it a day or 2 ago, it'll begin to fade away, and if somebody comments on it, it boosts it back up in the news feed of all of your people, of all of your friends, okay? So doing this and helping each other by liking and commenting and even asking questions on our support list will help these posts that we're creating to get boost, okay? So every time a post gets touched, it gets raised and gets put back into the news feed. That's the importance of these comments, all right? So why, again, are we doing separate lists? Because if we do nothing but continue to comment on each other's, as great as this is, we're the only people that are going to see each other's news feed. So we need to get out of our own group's list and change our algorithms. So this is why you have to have a prospect list that you go and spend some time in every single day. And again, a list you're physically going to have to be on a desktop or an iPad or a notepad or you know, whatever tablet. That's what I have because I'm an Android. So you have to be on a larger device. You cannot do it on your telephone. So, but it's important to have the prospect list. Go check in with your customers, see what they're doing, see what they're saying, like and comment on them, because you want to be outside of just your New You Life family, and you've got to get into the news feed of your customers and your prospects. So that's the importance of lists. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, good, okay. How does it boost when we reply to the comments on our own posts? It does boost. So what it does is, again, I want you to think about a post that you're making, and every time that somebody goes in and comments, what Facebook does through the algorithms is it recycles your post and it puts it back into the news feed of all the people that you're friends with, that you know you're engaging with. Because again, this is all about engagement. So every time a post gets touched, it's going to go and be recycled back into the news feed. Let me see if I can show you an example of one of the ways that I do what I call recycling on posts. Let me get to my page. All right, now let me come back to you guys, and I'm going to screen share. Boom. And that's a really good question. Again, you know, what Facebook is looking for is, and if you've ever seen any of my lives on my page, I really talk about if you're going to be on social media, you need to be social. There are people that are just consumers of social media. You know, we have them. Like, I've had people, like, I'll make a post and they've never liked it, they've never commented on it, but all of a sudden they're like, I want to try the gel, or you know, I want to find out more about the business. And I'm thinking, you never liked it or commented on it. But people are seeing it. They're just not being socially engaging on it. But we as business builders, we need to take this seriously and work Facebook like a business and be social on it and engage with people. I just want to give you an example here. So can everybody see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can. See, okay, there you go. All right, let me move this little guy out of the way. So here's a funny one. So this is a girl that I grew up with, Susan Dombrowski, and we were having this little fun thing about Super Bowl with Adam Levine. I'm an Adam Levine fan. She's not. So she put this really funny thing on my news feed where she tagged me. So like right now there are 5 comments on it. I used one of the comments as like a little GIF or emoji or whatever you want to call those. There's a guy I know that commented here. So when I go in, like, this guy is not my friend. I'm going to go in and just comment just something simple, like, right? That's how we talk in Jersey, right? Just right. There we go. So now I'm going to have this connection with John Carroll, who, as you can see, I'm not a friend with yet. And what I just did by touching his comment, I've reboosted this post. Now, this is my girlfriend's post, so it's like no skin off my back. But if I go down to this one with my new puppy, all right, and I save, I don't always respond. So here, if you're taking notes, here's a tip. So this is the post I did today. So far, it has 13 comments, okay? Now, our responses are also included when you see the number of comments here. Let me pull them all up. All right, that's a good screenshot. Okay, so you'll see here in this girl, Karen, I responded to her and she responded back. That will boost this post. Leslie responded, but I haven't responded back, and I'm holding off intentionally because I want this post, I want to kind of stretch out the longevity of this post. So you'll notice down here, this is a girl I had babies with in Tennessee. So I immediately responded to her because I knew she was on, and she doesn't get on often. But see, I haven't responded to Amanda. I haven't responded to Lori. I haven't responded to Rochelle nor Rebecca, as well as several others. So this is, again, the game that Facebook plays. Every time someone comes in and comments, or if I reply, this post is going to get recycled and put back into the news feed of everyone. That's the game of of Facebook. And so I reserve responding. So if you're taking notes, put that down. Reserve responding to every single comment right off the bat. So part of what I do every day is I will go into my own feed and I will scroll through maybe just today or the past couple of days or even sometimes a week's worth of my posts, and I will slowly start to respond and reply to comments. And what that does is that breathes life back into that post, and it gets put back into the news feed. Okay? Thumbs up. Does that resonate with you guys? Does that make sense? Very good. So again, with Facebook, you've got to learn to play the engagement game to keep your algorithms going. Using your Facebook lists, working through them is really super important. And when you make a post, whether it be in a group or on your own news feed, reserve hold back from replying to every single comment right off the bat, because then you can extend the life of a post. Now, obviously, this is just my puppy, So this isn't anything about the gel. But again, the more I hold off, I'm reserving, this is going to help me to stay actively in front of the eyes of all of my prospects. Okay. Another tip that I want to give you, and I'm not checking the chat, so if there's any like comments or questions, I'll come back to it, or Rachel, you can let me know. I want to show you another tip. So birthday messages. Now we know that, you know, they're very, very important. So here's your next algorithm tip. If you can engage somebody in Messenger, in the messages, your connection to that person, your algorithm with that person is going to go up, which again just means that when you do posts, they're going to see your posts more. Okay, so here's a tip for birthdays. You can actually, in the search bar, you can type in birthdays. You can select today of my friends. I just go right in for birthdays. You can also do this on your phone. And so here we go. I'm going to click see all. And once it refreshes, it lets me know who's having a birthday. Like all of these people are today. These are recent. Oh, like I missed Stephanie. So I can go right in here, and a typical message for me is going to be something that asks a question. So I'm going to move that one keyboard and I'm just going to type it in right here. Hey, Steph. I hope you had a fabulous, I'm going to show you how I use a question. Fabulous day celebrating your birthday. Here's my question. Did you do anything special? Okay. Now, why a question and a message? Because again, it goes back to that engagement rule with your algorithms. The more you can play tennis with somebody, meaning you say something, they say something, you respond, they respond, the more of those back and forth, Facebook goes, hey, these people are really social. They really are friends. They're having true engagement. They're having real connections. They're having real conversations. We're going to make sure Stephanie sees Jennifer's posts. So using birthdays is kind of just a nice slide-in way to be able to get into the news feed of more of your prospects. So what I need to do and what you need to do is go through, and this is your next task. So for the next 3 minutes, I want you to go to your search bar. I want you to type in birthday, and I want you to go through and just respond. And this will be your last task for tonight, okay? Because again, tonight's tasks were all about engagement and flipping your algorithms with Facebook. So here we go. Go ahead onto your desktop. You can actually do this on your phone as well. So if you want to, go to your search bar on your home screen, type in birthdays, and you're going to see this duplicate screen. All right? So I'm going to unstop the share, and I'll check questions as well. But go ahead now, take it away. Wish people a happy birthday and add in some sort of question. How did you celebrate? If it hasn't happened yet, are you doing anything special for your big day? Any kind of question, and I'll actually come over here and type in some fun questions, and that way if you want, you can cut and paste. There you go. So that's kind of my common 3. Remember to look at these messages as conversation. Ask as many questions as you can ask. And if you guys have any special questions that you come up with as you're typing this, go ahead and put it in the comments. And this same rule again with asking questions, I want you this week to really focus on applying this question factor to your comments. So when you go and comment on people's posts, ask a question, see what you can generate. You've got 50 seconds and we're almost done with our training for tonight. All right, there you go. And we stop. All right, so the last and final thing that I want to share with you is every time you make a new friend, again, engagement, engagement, engagement. Imagine you're at a party and you're trying to create relationships with people. Do that on Facebook. So when someone sends you a friend request or you send somebody a friend request and you finally connect as friends, this next message here that I just posted in the chat, I send them this. Thanks for the friend request, or, you know, I reverse it if I sent them, thanks for accepting my friend request. Looking forward to connecting with you here on Facebook. This is really important because the algorithms say the more you connect on Messenger, it shows your true friendship, a true connection, and these people will see more of your posts. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the algorithm, how to shake it up on Facebook, and how to get more engagement on your posts and get people to see what we're doing with building our businesses on Facebook. So if you have any questions, just shoot me a message. And any questions over here? No, Jen, this is so good. Thank you. Loved it. Awesome.
That was so good, Jen. So good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. I will get the recording up first thing tomorrow. Make sure you tag your teams on it because everybody needs to hear this information.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.
See you later.